She is from the Empire. If we rescue her, she may join freely. Otherwise, she will return home and spread goodwill between our factions. We can also capture her for recruitment or slavery purposes, but this will anger her faction. Let's check her out. I don't know. This might be a tough call, but it might be the easiest call in the world. Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are back with some more RimWorld. Today, this is episode number 3 of our medieval and magic playthrough. And as you can see, the colony is still in one piece here. The walls are up, and unfortunately, they have yet to be tested. So last episode was very much a building episode. As you can see, we've got a nice little establishment going, but Randy did some building of his own in the last one too. He built the tension. So as you can see here, if we look at our history tab, it brings up a little graph of our wealth accumulation over time, but most importantly, you'll notice the lack of any little pink or red dots up here at the top. Maybe they're yellow, I can't remember. I think they're pinkish, but regardless of the color, they don't exist here yet, which means we haven't had any raids, there haven't been any animal attacks or anything. So man, oh man, I'm nervous. I think this first one's going to be pretty big. It's already September, and that means we're in the fall of this world here, which brings up in my next point. I'm a little nervous about the winter. We've really got to start to think about warm clothes, and we're going to have to shift our research into some complex clothing. We'll have to search for that in a little while. I might in fact go ahead and switch over from furniture to clothing now that we're on that subject, but we'll have to look into that briefly. Other than that, the colony is coming along quite nicely, and in the last one we also very fortunately got our hands on some rocks. So what we're going to do now is spend a moment or two looking at these animals to see what they're all about, if they produce wool, how good their intelligence level is, and their basic descriptions, since they aren't necessarily included in the vanilla game. And I'm hoping that we can turn these into a pretty significant fighting force. But like I said, let's take a look at their descriptive bio. The Rocks is a huge herding herbivore of unknown origins. Most rocks have considerably large horns they use to gore attackers. A dead rock's valuable horns can be recovered by butchering it. Intelligent creatures with complex social relationships, rocks can be used as pack animals or trained to carry out the most complex of tasks. They live a long time and are known to remember events and relationships from many decades before. Alright, well that is the basic description of the rocks here, which is of course, if we scroll all the way down, we can see the source is the medieval overhaul mod itself. It does add a slew of different animals, and the rocks is one of them. Now from that description, it does seem like they might be good in combat, so I still have high hopes for these two animals producing us a nice large herd of combat fighters, which will be great. For anybody who saw my last series, the Hussar and Highmate series, you'll know that we very heavily relied on thrumbos in that one for our colony defense. In fact, our large herd of thrumbos is probably what helped us succeed in that playthrough. But anyway, let's continue to look at the rocks. Now, one commenter asked specifically about the wool productivity of these animals, which is a fantastic question, and thank you so much for giving me that comment, because I hadn't even considered it, to be honest. And I do think with this medieval overhaul, the fact that leather is now like a process to get that up to, workable quality, having some extra wool is going to be very cool. So it looks like they do produce wool. It's called Rocks wool. Wool amount is 160 each time it's shorn. Wow, so that's pretty darn good. Wool shearing interval is 15 days. A wool amount per year, 640 for one man. Wow. Decent market value. Obviously, it's not as valuable as a thrumbo, but once we make it into some clothing, this is going to be really great for us. So we definitely stumbled upon some good luck with these animals here. Gestation time is very important too. So we know, obviously if we can use these as a food source potentially as well as fighters. And growth time is a bit long, but I think, yeah. But the gestation time seems actually kind of short relative for the size of these animals. So that's helpful. Meat amount is huge for the tamed variety. I believe when we were killing the wild rocks, they were only producing like 360 meat for a wild one butchered. But of course, in RimWorld, when you have a tame animal that you can slaughter very carefully, you do produce a lot more meat than if, an animal's killed violently and then butchered. But anyway, there's a quick look at their productivity. DPS seems pretty average, melee armor penetration. These numbers will be, I think, we'll be able to get a better sense of their combat once we actually get into a fight with them. So, of course, if we just, one last thing, check the animals tab, we can see their master is Cage, and I'm going to go ahead and set it so whenever he's recruited, they will follow him. Like I said, we're going to test them out, possibly in our very first encounter. With winter coming up, I think we do need to take seriously our clothing options. So right now I was thinking of doing some complex furniture and building out some rooms, but if we don't have any clothing, that's going to be very difficult for them to work outdoors in the coldest months. So what I did was I found complex clothing, which is here in the main tab, but it does have a prerequisite, so we need textile spinning. And I found that over here on Medieval. We're going to grab this. Now it's farther down the line, but it is ready to go. There's no prerequisites for that. So we're going to switch from complex furniture over to textile spinning, and we don't lose any of the progress. So once we come back to this and pick it up, we'll start right where we left off. No big deal. Oh boy, well, I love those rocks so much that I decided to go ahead and tame the final one that was on the map. So there are no more wild rocks. Now look at that, we've got some dire boar that have showed up. Ooh, do we dare to hunt this? Let me see if I can get a clear picture of this guy. There we go. Handsome looking animals for sure. Not too shabby. Yeah, we might try our hand at hunting them, but fortunately there has been a surge of wildlife showing up here in the fall. So we've got does. We just hunted a bunch of pigs too. So I'm trying to really build up our stockpile of food and stuff, which is essentially why I decided to tame this third rock. So you can see we did have our baby was born, but having an extra one now, female, we can get twice as much growth going. And if we need to, in the hard, lean months of the winter, we can butcher one up if we really get desperate. But on a side note, you can see over here that I've actually started to lay out some plans for building inside the mountain. A few people recommended in the comments that this was probably the way to go, and I agree with that, because I had speculated about whether I should build out in this area past the walls, or should we dig into the mountains? But just as another note too, I'm a little cautious about digging too far up into the north, because there's a lot of mountain here on this map. I have a feeling there's going to be one of those little pockets of like covered up valley or terrain, and those can be a little bit dangerous if they happen to intersect with the edge of the map. Then raids can spawn there, and if I were to dig a tunnel from our base into one of those, then raiders could, theoretically pour into the base if we didn't block it off. But what I might do is once we get set up here, I might dig a couple of test tunnels in from this direction just to see if we can't open anything up. Then it won't be directly connected into our underground compound too. But just as one final note here about that, if we do go underground, I think we'll probably go for the tunneler meme, because of course with our fluid ideology, we can develop it in any way we want. And having a mining specialist with a production specialist too, thanks to collectivism, yeah, that's going to be real nice. Oh no, guys, check this one out. The dire boars are now both hostile towards us. We did try and hunt them, but luckily I did it in a group, so maybe we can outrun these while we run and gun and try and fire at them. I'm just going to move the colonists to some random point in the distance. We're going to let things go at normal speed. There they go. They're staying just at the perimeter of our range. Let's in fact pull our people all the way back to right here behind the walls. That's probably smart, so they'll be nice and protected. But if we get to this point and they're just about to enter the door and the boars are on top of them, I'll just have them keep kiting around the boars essentially. But let's get back to the action here. So it's going to be hard to see the boars. I'll try and keep my cursor locked to them. There we go. Oh, nice. We're plugging it. The closest one's still gaining, though, on Beetle. Come on, guys. Need to at least outrun that first one. Oh, dang, he's getting close. Oh, we dropped him. Whew. Look at that. Bear's just developed a skill, too. So did we get both of them? It's hard to tell. I don't even know where the other one's at. Here it is. Oh, they've both been downed, I think. Or is this one on the move still? Yeah, he's coming along. Tell you what, we don't need to retreat behind the walls now. Let's hold our ground right here. Oh, come on, guys. Take him out right beside this cliff face. You can do it. Down him. All right, move, Bear. No. Bear. He just got bruised. That's totally fine. But let's check him out here, guys. So we were successful. He is now up to 5 points. That's amazing. By the way, somebody did mention that the reason sniper training wasn't available is because it does take more and more points as you level it up. So I only had one, I think, previously, the last time we looked at this. So we're going to go ahead and throw another one in sniper training, which is an all-around good one. I've got 3 points left. Let's do improved ammo and improved ammo again. Nice. Now we've got one more. I'll go ahead and throw 1 point into stamina, decrease the stamina cost of disabling shot. There we go. So we can do that. Now I'm still not 100% sure if I have it on. Oh, there we go. Auto cast. There we go. So I got to right click it. I had it enabled in the options of the mod, but now I see that. Anti-armor. Should we go with this one as well? Yeah, I think so. Let's get a feel for all the different abilities he has. Next time we hunt some boars, that is. Still no word on the raid yet, but we're getting stockpiling food for winter, so at least that's something positive. Well, I think it's time we take a look at our youngest member. Little update on Kaz, see how he's doing. Well, and now unfortunately as an impid, he does have this genetic pessimism, so he's got a permanent mood debuff of -5 on him. And he's the wrong ideology, so he's also got a mood debuff permanently until we convert him, which I've got Indo coming in from our latest hunt. He's going to hit him with this conversion spell, so let's get Kaz to stand still for a moment while he does that. Now he's also hauling that bunch of stuff, but he's got some Psychite Tea, which is good. That will, of course, help us with his mood. And just go into our assign tab. I didn't show this off at the beginning, but I've got it basically set so that they can use Psychite Tea for recreation. Now I do turn off smoke leaf joints. That's just a personal preference because this thing gives a pretty big hit to consciousness. With that reduces everything from the ability to speak well, to move well, to manipulate things and work. So I don't like smoke leaf as a means of boosting mood, but Psychite Tea is a benefit in a lot of different ways. As long as they don't get addicted to it, there's really no downside. But Kaz is looking pretty good. So let's see how he does with the ideology. Maybe we can convert him in this one hit. Let's go. Okay, there it goes. Certainty from 56 to 42. So it wasn't great, but nonetheless, we just have to wait until Indo's convert spell cools down, and we'll hit this kid again with another conversion attempt. Oh my god, well, believe it or not, it has finally happened. We've had our first official event, and it's a mass animal insanity, so he's sending the deer at us, the ones that are already on our map. This should be, yep, pretty good, actually. We're going to get just a whole bunch of food now from this. You know what, in fact, I've been thinking about doing some drying of the meat. I don't know if we can do this in this temperature, though. We'll see. Alternately, I could move my food basket outside to store it once it starts to get colder out there. It's already probably, yeah, at freezing levels. I'll just put a little roof over it, just, you know, for my purposes, make things Heck, let's extend a little roof there the whole way. That'll be nice. But it's going to be a little bit more inconvenient for the cook this way. But again, it'll keep the food throughout the entire winter. So hopefully we won't waste this meat. But the good news is this is going to be super easy to deal with. And we can probably, yeah, we can definitely get Kaz involved. So he's going to get a little target practice too. Let's go ahead and call everybody up. We'll put him in front of our little embrasure setup right here. And Cage is going to, I'm going to bring him in just because I don't want him to wander into the fight. He's obviously our melee guy and not going to be much help here with these deer. I don't plan on giving him any combat where he's almost assuredly going to get injured badly by a mob of wild deer. So we'll just wait for these guys to come on up to the front. And like I said, time for a little target practice. And they have arrived. All right, so the deer... Oh, well, they're going to trigger some of our traps, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. I have an absolute ton of wood. It is fun watching them, though. Honestly, you know what? I should have just brought the kid along. Just let the kid and maybe one or two of the other people take target practice here. You know? Oh boy. Well, in the midst of installing some upgraded research benches, we got the notification that a bulk goods trader has entered the map. That could be a game changer now. Alright, they're not too far away. We've just got to see what they have with them. Ooh, what are these majestic looking beasts here? Some sort of bovine? The Rave Elder. Well, we'll take a look at everything they've got here once they get to the walls. I don't want our people walking all the way out here and then trading with them at the edge of the map. That's just not safe. Even though we've had a recent event, I don't trust Randy. He can hit us back to back. That's why they call him Randy Random. So anyway, let's see what the bulk goods trader has. All right, well, here we are. And of course, Barra is our best social pawn, so he will be our negotiator. Now, I haven't looked through their list at all, so we're going to go into this fresh and see what they've got. Now, we're starting off with 926 silver. They've got 865 silver, of course, plus a bunch of goods that we want. But let's take a look at the Rave Elder Bull. Let's see what these things are all about. Alright, a large domesticated ungulate. Cows have been bred for millennia to produce huge amounts of milk, meat, and leather. They're exceptionally gentle creatures and will never seek revenge, no matter how many times they're harmed. Most of them are so adapted to farm life, they cannot survive in the wild. Interesting. So if we look at our productivity list, looks like they've got a very quick gestation time. Growth time is 19 days. Dang, that's much quicker than the rocks. See, meat is pretty good quantity. The big one, though, is the milk type. Yeah, so we get 18 milk every day from these animals. Over 1,000 in the full year. But they have no other purposes. No combat ability and no... they might be packing animals. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think so because we would have this. That's rideable, but we'll see. They're pretty cheap. Boy, oh boy. I might just buy those and butcher them if we need them. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Might not be good to have too many animals throughout the winter because we got to feed them too. Remember that when the grass all dries up and dies. All right, let's just go down the list. I might think about selling the fat. Then again, I think we can use it to make kibble. Let's continue to look. I do have a desire to grab their cloth. It's pretty cheap. I'll stack off their cloth. Let's put that on the list. There's our rocks wool worth $1.68 per pound. I'm kind of saving my textiles though, so that once we do get our crafting up and running, we can just make a whole bunch. Here's the hides we've got that are still, I guess, waiting to be produced. Boy, I need to make some more tanning racks, don't I? Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, look at this. I've got a huge mega sloth pelt. We've been doing some hunting, boys, I'll tell you. Also got quite a bit of raw timber we could sell. Now, oh, here's the big one. Okay, so I definitely need some warm clothes. I'm going to grab these three parkas. That's really excessively expensive thanks to this hyperweave parka. What else do we got? That's probably all we're looking at. So I'm going to have to put some serious stuff on the trading block here. Boy, oh boy. Let's start off up here at the top. Oh, well, I actually did that. I just looked up. Look at that. Boom. So, I guess I don't need to sell them all my raw wood. That did the trick, though, didn't it? Let's do 2,000. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do it all. I can drop down more wood very quickly, so... Hey, that's excellent. What a great trade. Is there anything else I can trade maybe to get a little bit of our silver back? You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead. I got to keep all the food. None of that is getting traded. We've got quite a bit of herbal meds. That's worth 13. What if we just did 20? Yeah, you know what? We might need it. If we get a whole slew of prisoners or something. I know I'm waffling back and forth, but alright, let's just accept this. I think this is a good enough trade here. I don't see any magic items, except maybe, is this a magic item? Slave suppression. It has a social impact. That's interesting. Enchanted War Mask. Pain Shock Threshold. I'm gonna grab that. Alright, let's go. Magic Academy. Toxic Environment Resistance. Not bad. Don't need that, though. Alright, accepting. What a great trade that was. Really phenomenal. Now, we still need a few more parkas, but that covers 2 adults, and our little one, Kaz, now has a parka. Phew, thank God. Now we just got to get some pants, so they no longer have the debuff for having their groins uncovered, unfortunately. So, the colony is moving along quite nicely. As you can see over here, I've added a small little hospital, which... it doesn't look that great with those floors in there. It looks too modern. I think I'm going to change that up to something a bit more rustic in terms of the flooring. I haven't decided yet. Maybe we'll do the sandstone plate floor. Oh, actually, I'm going to use limestone because I have more of that. We'll see what this looks like. It's a little bit of extra work. And I've got some other plans going on now I'm going to show you too. So what I'll do is I'll lay those but forbid them just so I remember to unforbid them later on. Now down here you can see that I've expanded the production room a little bit. We've got double on the tanning racks and double on the hide racks. Very important. We've also got 3 full-size research benches with the little bookshelf in the middle to speed up production. This room is still a mess over here, but I'm actually going to have it dug out a little bit just to expand things. Eventually, the stockpile needs to be moved to a different location, something permanently dedicated to that, which is what we're going to start working on pretty soon. We're going to finally break ground, I think, on digging into the mountain here. The first room I want to go to is this circular room right here, which is going to be our ritual room. Unless something changes and I desperately need this room for something else, we're going to set up some pews, and it's expandable. I can eventually dig out these little corners here too, but that's the plans. And then eventually I can move my stockpile or something into here, you know, or we can have our kitchen area in one of these rooms. As I said, there's still a lot of flexibility with my layout so far, but one thing you might notice, especially if you're new to my series, is that I use a lot of the rounded shapes. So I'll touch on really quickly what mod I use to achieve that. Of course, it's included in this mod pack. There's a link in the description below to the scenario, to the mod pack, which will allow you to replicate this game exactly if you want. And one thing I have is the designator shapes right here. It's this little black box that pops up. You can move it around by dragging it. Oh, and it's got several different options. Now, I highly recommend you play around with these using the planning tool here. That definitely makes things easier. But one thing you can do is you can use structures for this as well, so you can just directly build these buildings in shapes. But like I said, for now we'll stick with the actual planning tool, and this won't be a full mod breakdown, but just to give you an idea of some of the shapes you can make. You can go for a straight line in any diagonal direction there, or you can pull up one of these here where you draw. Literally, you can just draw whatever you want, you know. It's a very nice, and again, you can do this with the walls themselves, with the wall blueprints, if you'd like to mess around with that. Let's go ahead and go back to the square shape. This is kind of the default shape that you're going to want to go to. And here's how I get the circular shapes here. You can use the circular tool to drag them. Oops, let's pull up the right planing tool. There you go, you see that? Or you can have an open type of circle there. And if you are playing a high-tech playthrough and you have trade beacons and growing lights, another thing you can do, if we come back to the main menu here real quick, we'll come to this, the 3 dots, the little ellipses there, open that up, and it brings up these 4 essentially functions. This is a closed grow lamp shape, so if you build a grow lamp in the center of this, the light will fit perfectly in this shape. And you can also remove it real quick. And this is an open one. Again, if you just want to build the room, you know, with the walls for that grow lamp, very helpful. And the same is true for the trade beacon. You can do a larger shape. And you'll notice that's what I've done over here. These are all trade beacon shapes perfectly. I don't know if there is actually a trade beacon available in this game, but that's kind of how I'm used to designing my rooms, is to have something this size as like the largest, so to speak. One thing to note too, final note about this size room, you do need a pillar or a column or some sort of roof support right in the center of this. Otherwise it won't fully roof over with this particular size. But nonetheless, it's a pretty nice little mod to help you build those irregular shapes and give a little bit more diversity to your layout. Whoa, check it out. A house servant named Eliolo is crashing in a transport balloon nearby. If she survives the impact, she will be badly wounded. She is from the Empire. If we rescue her, she may join freely. Otherwise, she will return home and spread goodwill between our factions. We can also capture her for recruitment or slavery purposes, but this will anger her faction. Let's check her out. I don't know, this might be a tough call, but it might be the easiest call in the world. Oh, she's 53. That's pretty bad. That's not looking good for her. Somebody that old probably isn't going to have much fertility, but let's just check out her biome. Oh, and she is also sickly too, so that's unfortunate. But she's definitely a good miner and a good cook. Crafting is not bad, nor intellectual. She would be a benefit to the colony, but ultimately, let's check out her fertility too. It's probably at 0, I'm guessing. Fertility, 0%. She's past her childbearing years. But nonetheless, we will rescue her because a little bit of faction influence with the Empire is always good. We're not trying to run up the royalty ladder this playthrough. There won't be any pawns with royalty or psi abilities. Any abilities we have will come strictly from the magic mod. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get Indo's our best. His mood is so terrible right now. He really needs to get his pants worked on. By the way, we did finally get the first stage of that. What was it? Weaving or something? Now we've got complex clothing. Working on textile spinning. That's taken care of. So hopefully we can get his mood under control. But nonetheless, I'm going to have him come out here. Let's check out her health real quick. Okay, she's just bruised up. She might end up getting up and walking on her own. Sometimes they do that if they're not too badly injured, but nonetheless, we'll try and rescue her. Oh, see, there it goes. Oh, no, that was Indo. Okay, he grabbed her. I had the speed going so fast I didn't even notice. It flew by. That's why it's good to keep your speed a little bit lower, just so you can enjoy and understand what's happening. Do you have a little bit of hypothermia setting in? Man, oh man, I've got to double time this research, I'll tell you what. Oh no. Well, just as Indo was bringing in the Empire person, he fell down and had a catatonic attack because of his poor mood. Oh, wow. That's not good. Unfortunate. Indo is the father. We must get him in, so let's rescue him. Beetle, you can rescue Elio. She's just bruised up, so I don't even really need to get her immediate medical treatment at all, but oh man, that's unfortunate for Indo too. Catatonia can last quite a while. But hey, it'll get him inside the warmth for one thing, and number two, when he comes out of this, he will have a little bit of catharsis, which gives him a tiny mood buff. Well, it's not tiny. It's fairly substantial. It's like an 8 or 12 mood buff, but since he is our priest, too, we can't really do any more rituals until he snaps out of it, so we'll be looking forward to that. Alright, well, looks like everybody is safe and sound, nice and warm indoors. Indo is inside his bed now. Like I said, it will be a while before he wakes up. And of course, we have still not been attacked yet by a real legitimate raid, so Randy's got something special planned for us. I can feel it. And take note, too, that the snow has started to finally cover the ground, so it's definitely getting colder out there, but as long as we can stay on track with our research, I think we'll get things under control. And last but not least, the Empire member is here in our janky little hospital, which is still a work in progress, no doubt about it. But I think that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in the Medieval and Magic playthrough. It has been a real joy bringing this series to you so far. I'm excited to see what we've got in store next, too. So I hope you will continue to join me. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, and I will see you all on the next episode.